So when it's zero, I can start, right? Okay. So thank you for joining us. First, I'd like to welcome you all, and thank you everyone for coming. The purpose of our today's live stream is to provide more details regarding our recently announced software engineering internship program in our Nicosia office, which will give the opportunity to those selected to understand the work on prototypes and get a deep practical knowledge of Rabbit projects. Before we begin with the presentation, I'd like to take a moment to introduce who will be presenting today. My name is George Charalambous, and I am the HR Services Manager at Wargaming's headquarters here in Nicosia. And I will be presenting to you an overview of Wargaming as a company. With us today, we have also Marina Jonsdottir, our talent acquisition lead, who is responsible for the hiring process and who will be presenting an overview of the internship program and how you can apply. And last but not least, we have Andrey Sobchinskiy, a senior developer in the Rabbit prototyping team and one of the mentors of the program. And Andrey is here to answer any technical questions you may have. For any questions you may have, please feel free to post them in the comment section of the live stream on your right. And we will try to answer them at the end of the presentation. So let's begin with our presentation. Our company, Wargaming, was officially founded in 1998 in Minsk, Belarus. And everything started basically with a bunch of friends working out in our CEO's apartment, Mr. Viktor Kisly, and reaching nowadays to a international success and global presence. Our mission, which is also on the slide as you can see, is to deliver legendary games globally with let's go to our next slide. Our company is an award-winning online game developer and publisher, and one of the leaders in the free-to-play MMO gaming industry with 5,500 employees, 18 offices globally, and more than 200 million registered players. Next slide. As you can see, we have offices in all continents except Africa and Latin America. I always like to say on this slide that our offices grow like mushrooms in a forest. So as you can see, we have a global representation. And with our biggest office being in Minsk with around 2,500 employees, and our headquarters, as I have mentioned, here in Nicosia. The selection of our location is based on our strategic goals as a company, which include investment opportunities for investment purposes, access to talent, access to players for marketing purposes, etc. Let's go to our next slide. More specifically for Nicosia now, that will be our internship program, and it's the main focus of our presentation today. Our headquarters in Nicosia were established in 2012, and we currently have 325 employees with 25 different nationalities, demonstrating the multicultural nature of the Nicosia office, but also of the company as a whole. The teams that we have here in Cyprus is, of course, our leadership team, CEO, CFO, the highest position in the ranks of our company, head of product, meaning our games, and functions, of course, and teams that have to do with global operations like legal, HR, IT, tax. In addition, we have a small team of 20 people, the rapid prototyping team, which Marina will mention more about this team and what exactly this team does here in Nicosia, and more information, of course, about the internship program that are offering under this team. Next slide. Our products. Our main product is our trilogy series, which is World of Tanks, World of Warships, and World of Warplanes. The platforms that we offer our games is, of course, on PC, which we offer all three titles. And of course, PC is for the more traditional hardcore players. Next slide, please. On console, which we offer World of Tanks and World of Warships. The next slide is, of course, on mobile, the new evolving market, basically, the market of mobile. And again, we have World of Tanks and World of Warships Blitz. Next slide. So what do we do? Basically, we started our operations back in 1990, and 2010 was a landmark year for the company, since we have launched our hit game World of Tanks. And since then, since 2010, we keep growing and growing. As you can see from the slide, our team size in 10 years, it reached from 120 employees to 5,500 nowadays, and from 22,000 registered players to over 200 million. Below, you can see an overview of some prizes that we have won as a company, with the most prominent one being the Golden Joystick, which is like the Oscar for games, which we have won 4 times for World of Tanks. And for example, World of Guinness, we have managed to be registered in World of Guinness twice, for the first time for 500,000 registered players playing on a single server a game, and the second time was 1 million registered players playing World of Tanks on a server. I'm not an expert on IT and on servers, etc., but people that are aware of servers and all these kind of technologies, they tell me that it's a pretty huge accomplishment to have. Next slide, please. So what is our compass? Players, and especially happy players. And by quoting our CEO, Mr. Victor Kisley, The player is both our boss and investors. The keywords here are happy players. Again, I say on this slide that I have one wife, and it's very difficult to keep her satisfied. Imagine now to keep happy 200 million people. It's a difficult job, and we are giving our best day in, day out in order to keep our players happy, in order to continue coming and enjoy our games. Next slide, please. So the last slide from my side, as a conclusion, I will mention that as a company, we try to share knowledge and expertise through our participation in big events in the gaming industry, such as the ones that you can see below, like Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, through the Wargaming Fest, E3, but also through events that we organize internally, but also externally with external partners, in order to share knowledge, find new ideas, new projects, and in order to progress, adapt, and be agile in this very competitive industry that we are, the gaming industry. So from my side, I have finished the part that I was meant to present. I will give the floor to Marina in order to present more information for the internship program and about the rapid prototyping team here in Nicosia. Marina?
Thank you, George. So can we get up the slide, please? So maybe a short introduction to myself. George has already told you, but my name is Marina. I have been doing recruitment in the gaming industry for almost 9 years now. And as he also mentioned, I will manage the recruitment process for the internships that we are offering now for the software engineers. So next slide, please. What is Wargaming Forge? Wargaming Forge was founded in 2017 in Minsk, in Belarus. And the purpose was really to set up a program that would allow us to hire young, fresh, and passionate people and turn them into full-time employees as much as we could possibly do. You might think that this is just a win for the candidate, but the reality is that it's always very healthy to have a good balance between experienced people and young talent on teams in order to stand out from the crowd. So while interns can learn from the more experienced employees, they will also come in with fresh blood and new perspectives that is also extremely valuable for the more experienced employees. So this is basically a win-win for everyone. What we are offering here is the opportunity for students and young professionals to master the skills by working on real tasks. You will be supervised by our experts. And of course, if all goes well during the internship, we would like to be able to offer a full-time employment for the people involved. We foster our expertise by offering our interns to work on real products and tasks so they can develop their practical experience in the field. And this is what differentiates us really from others. We don't make up stuff for you to study. It's real tasks. The interns will always be mentored by industry professionals who will then allow them to grow rapidly through knowledge sharing and the task that they're working on. We will be able to offer a full online internship if needed. Hopefully, the pandemic will allow us to bring the interns to the office. However, we need to be aware that there is a chance that we will not be able to do that. So the plan B is to have it fully online and remote if needed. So we are ready for that. Next slide, please. So what does the rapid prototyping team do? At Wargaming, we do have a lot of creative people, as you can imagine, who come up with a lot of unique and interesting ideas. However, we cannot always release all those ideas, as you can imagine. The rapid prototyping team is a department that's going to check all of those ideas by making prototypes of them. And they will test them on community test groups in order to figure out which will be the best ideas. And the best ones will then be passed on to the studios, who get to then create games out of those ideas. Just to give you full perspective here, but if you imagine a successful game out there, there are probably dozens or even hundreds of ideas that came their way before they then decided to make that game. So it's a very common thing in the industry that you get a lot of ideas through, but only a few of them will be good enough and survive the testing. We don't only create prototypes for games, so we do create prototypes for things like AI, data science, and other non-gaming projects. Next slide, please. So the rapid prototyping team started in 2017 and consists of currently 20 people. For the internship, we're looking for talented and passionate people who are keen to really challenge themselves with tasks assigned by the team. You will work closely with top-of-the-notch industry professionals and experience how ideas are really born and tested. We use Unreal Engine, and the main programming language is C++, but you will also touch on data and social science across several platforms. Next slide, please. So the team, we have 3 mentors for this project. As you can see on this slide, it's Andrey, Alexander, and Mikhail. All of them, I'm not going to read out what it says on the slide. You can do that yourself. But what these guys have in common is that they have several of years of experience in software development across different industries and platforms. Andrey, as George mentioned earlier, is on the call today as well. So when we go to the Q&A session, if you've got any more in-depth technical questions, he will be able to help and answer them. Next slide. So as mentioned, Wargaming Forge has been around since 2017. So they started in Minsk, as I told you. But we're now able to share real stories of interns who joined the Forge program and became then full-time employees. And here are some examples of successful stories of interns who did exactly that and who are currently working with us full-time employment. And it's really nice to see that, that the company doesn't see interns just as people coming in for a short amount of time and then out, but actually they're willing to invest in the future and help them grow and develop. And as I said earlier in the call, it is a win-win for everybody involved. Next slide, please. So as mentioned earlier, we want to offer you to work on real tasks from real practice. We are not going to make up any tasks or any stuff and fill you with unnecessarily information. It's all going to be real life projects that you're going to work on. This will be a busy program of training, analysis, and the search for options to improve projects. And you will be totally immersed in the development of games, which is definitely a very exciting opportunity to be part of. Next slide, please. So, as Wargaming Forge has been around for almost 4 years now, we've been able to build on the experience and offer a broad set of internships across many disciplines, but mainly, in Minsk so far, because that's where it all started. But now we have started to roll out the program in Prague and Nicosia. So while we only have a software engineer internship available now in Nicosia, We're hoping to be able to expand that in the future and opening up roles within different disciplines. So next slide, please. So here's an important part to know, and this is how to apply, and a few, let's say, advice as well. So in order to apply, you basically only need to have some basic programming skill. It does not necessarily have to be C++ or Unreal, just basic programming skills. Logical reasoning is also an important skill to have, and you should be able to communicate effectively in English because, as George said, it's an international environment, and English is a big part of the way we communicate here. So as an advice for when you apply, I would always recommend you to send a thorough CV listing your technical skills that you have been learning, whether it's on the side or at school, but to list them. But also a good cover letter is always helpful because that shares, you can kind of share your motivation, and that's basically what a CV cannot really tell. So I always recommend to submit a short motivation letter that just expresses your interest in why it interests you. So the process is that qualified candidates will receive a logical test as a first step, and if that goes well, you will get a basic programming test. So if you pass both of those tests, you go on then to the last stage, which is an interview, which will be 15 minutes with me, and then in the same hour, if possible, with Andrey, so more technically focused. All candidates will, of course, hear from us, whether they get the job or not. But throughout the process, everyone who applies through the website will receive an answer. Next slide, please. So if you want to reach out, here are our contact details. And this is pretty much the last slide that I have. If we move on to the last one, I just want to thank you all for your time, and we will now move on to questions that you can ask, and we will do our best to answer them. Thank you very much.
So please feel free to write any questions that you may have regarding the internship program, and we will make sure to answer any questions that you may have. First questions that we have, and this is addressed to Andrey. Are you interested in people with experience in Unity, for example, or other game engines that could adapt to your pipeline in Unreal?
Hello, everybody. Yes, sure. We're interested in all people, and I can say a little more. We are not only use Unreal Engine in our work. We use every instruments and tools that we need. We have used a lot of Unity. We did a lot of projects, prototype projects on it, and I think we will use it again if we have situation that Unity more efficient than Unreal. But on our internship, we decided to focus on one engine because we need we need not to learn our future students something, but we also want to check them in real projects, and now we a lot of use Unreal, and it is they will have more chances to work on real project if we started with Unreal Engine. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrey. One more question for you, Andrey. For the AI, artificial intelligence, do you require some skills, some libraries, or AI-specific methods?
Yes. We have some research and in artificial intelligence. We have some projects and we use, for example, artificial intelligence library from Unity, and we wrote our own library. So if you have some experience in this area, we invite you to join us.
Thank you. So Marina, the next question is for you. Basically, it's regarding tests. You mentioned that there will be a test for candidates that will apply. Can you tell us a bit more about what candidates need to expect? Do they need to prepare for something? Is there anything specific they have to know? Maybe
So,
this is addressed also to Andrey. So,
yes.
but Marina, you go first, and Andrey may
Yeah.
add something more specific if it's necessary.
Yeah, I definitely think Andrey will have to go in more depth into that, but it's two different tests. One is a logical test, and the other one is a more technical test. But maybe if we can give Andrey the word to just dig a little bit deeper into that, I think he's better suited.
Okay. Yes. As Marina told, we have two types of tests: logical test and programmer tests. We need to check the basic skills. We need to we try to find smart, clever people that have the basic skills in programming. It is not very necessary to have good, for example, C++ skills or some other skills in other languages, because we try to study C++ during internship. And I have experience that students who came to us, it is enough 3 months to study C++ for to have the necessary level for work as junior programmer. So what we need smart people who can pass the logic test and can do the programmer test. Programmer tests may be a little difficult, but all programmer tests we check, and after programmer test we talk. We will talk with candidates and try to understand their real level and their real experience.
Thank you. Marina, can you give us a bit visibility on the recruitment process, please? Like, what are the next steps?
Yeah, so I mean, the next steps, so we have advertised the role on the 25th of January, so I cannot remember when we will close it, but obviously the first step for you is to apply now. And then I think it's early next week we will start reviewing CVs, and we will, this is why it's important for you to submit good CVs and, you know, a good cover letter. You can also put in the CV on top kind of a few lines about your motivation or goals or what you want to achieve, something that gives a little bit of flavor to your CV. So we will choose the ones that we consider are qualified for the internship. And after that, we will start sending out the tests, the logical test, and then the programming test. And then the ones who pass both, as mentioned before, we will set up interviews with myself and Andrey. So this will probably take maybe 2 weeks. I cannot remember the timelines, but it's gonna, yeah, it's not going to take much more than 2 weeks. And, you know, me as the recruiter for the process, I will, of course, always keep candidates up to date who are in the pipeline. And I will make sure that candidates who do not qualify, that they will receive an email to know at least about their status. One thing to keep in mind is that sometimes when I send an email through the recruitment system, it tends to end up in your spam box or junk mail. So if you apply for the internship, please keep an eye on your junk mail and or spam to see if my email ended up there. So that's roughly this is the process. And the candidates will, who then we will offer the job to, will start in early March.
Thank you, Marina. Let me check the questions, if we have any other questions. They're asking if they can resubmit their applications in order to put some flavor. So, yes, I think let's give details also regarding the duration of the internship. Basically, the internship will be for 3 months with a possibility to offer a contract of employment to a successful candidate, to a successful internship. The duration, basically, it will be a part-time. It will last. Basically, it will be required to invest at least 20 hours per week into the internship program. We are pretty flexible on those 20 hours, and I believe the starting date will be mid of March. I think, Marina, like 15th of March will be the starting date, and the current positions that we have available. It will depend, of course, on the CVs that we will receive, but at the present time, I believe it's 3 positions, right, Marina?
I think we can eventually hire more than 3. I think it's 4, Andrey.
From 3 to 5. It depends from candidates.
And I think it's starting the 5th, not 15th.
Mm-hmm. So, there is one more question that if we are interested in joint internships with a research center, which I believe I will answer this question. We can discuss it with any interested research center or university that might be interested in a collaboration. We can discuss and see what the next steps will be and how this cooperation be between Wargaming and any institution that will be interested in organizing such a joint internship. So from my side, I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if Marina or Andrey want to add something else. Let's start with Marina.
No, yes, well, I mean, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to submit a good CV, because you've got one shot, and that's going to be based on your CV. So make sure that the CV is good. Another thing which you might want to know is also how to behave or be in an interview if you get there, which would be great, of course. And my advice here is, if you get to an interview, I know it's easy to say, but don't be too nervous. Just be yourself and be genuine. And if you don't know the answer to a question, you should rather just admit it and ask the person if they want you to try to solve the problem or answer the question. But don't go around the bush. If you don't know, just say it and ask if you want to hear your idea of what could be a solution. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Advice on a good CV and be yourself during an interview.
Thank you, Marina. Andrey, do you need to add something?
From my side, I can add that you have, I think, a great opportunity to join us, because the work in rapid prototyping is very interesting. We checked a lot of ideas, and really we don't know what we will do, for example, next week, because next week some great idea can come to us, and we try to research it and understand and realize it in prototype. So welcome.
Thank you, Andrey. So from my side, and I think on behalf of Marina and Andrey, thank you for joining us today in our live stream. Hope you found it useful, and we hope that you will apply to our to our internship program. You can find below in our live stream, you can find the link to our website that you can where you can follow the process to submit your CV and your cover note. And that's it. Thank you again, and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.